The penultimate movie I saw at Nightmare in the Ozarks was an anthology film called The Driftless, directed by Tim Connery. I haven't seen anything else from Mr. Connery, but rest assured, after seeing this film, I will be addressing that error shortly, because I thought that this film was amazing. As an anthology, it's got the traditional 3-story structure or 3-segment structure. I kind of use both interchangeably, but there is a 4th story being told as a framing device for these different stories and for these different segments. And that framing device, and the framing device here, is a unique one as an antique store, which gives off very Needful Things vibes, and we had a very Twilight Zone atmosphere that it cultivated. Each of the 3 major segments comes from the owner of the store selling off an item that relates to that story, and then he has to cross it off of a list of a big-ass creepy book. Honestly, it's perfect for me. It felt like an episode of Goosebumps, but for adults. Jumping right into the stories here, I unfortunately didn't catch the first 10 to 15 minutes-ish of this whole movie because I had to rush out to inhale some food before I absolutely died. I had initially got there at 10 and didn't actually leave the venue proper until about 6:37. So I inhaled a burger, watched a bartender freak out because his assistant knocked an entire case of Crown Royal down some stairs and had to wait for about $400 in liquor to get cleaned up before I could get back to the theater. But from the point I picked up in that first story that was, I think, titled Papa Bait. I don't have titles for all these, but I think this one was called Papa Bait. But in Papa Bait, the only thing I really got from it was that the world's tallest working actor kills a bunch of people and turns them into chum on a riverboat. I can't really say much about this one because I missed so much of it, but from what I saw, it was really well shot with some really good effects. But let's go ahead and move on to that second segment so that I can talk more definitively about it. The second segment in this is about a famous country singer trying to write his next big hit while isolating and drinking in the super remote cabin. It's established pretty early on that he is a destructive alcoholic at the end of his rope and that he intends to create his next great hit song or die trying. But while he is out there, he discovers he's not as alone as he thought he might be. Now, this segment is a strong contender for best told story at the festival. I'm sure that there are several people that would be turned off by its super slow pacing and repetitive nature, but unlike Lily's Ritual, these moments move at a pretty decent clip, and every second of screen time is used to inform us about this character. And isolating it to one character, I think, was a brilliant move on the director's part, or the writer's part, whoever. I think they might be the same person. But that allows us to get so many intimate moments with just that character, and it's honestly just really brilliant. The segment also sets itself apart from the others by having probably the best acting of anything else in the festival, which shouldn't come as a shock because it's only the one character that we have to deal with. And normally the pathetic drunk stereotype in something like this would have me rolling my eyes at an over-the-top, unrealistic portrayal of alcohol addiction, but this is played very subtly and is played with a very realistic approach. It's very well handled. I would call it the best segment in the movie, but I'm afraid that the final segment about a time-looping pool cleaner and a little boy beats it out, but only by the narrowest of margins. This one was the one time I think I regretted watching something in a crowd like this because I felt like several people didn't really get this one. There was some laughter at inappropriate times, and it just felt like if there were a different crowd watching it with me, I would have had a better experience. It was, however, the best in the movie, or at the very least my favorite. It starts off with a boy that's on vacation and some kind of actually kind of strange summer and winter resort that centers around a pool, like an indoor pool. Like that's its whole gimmick, which I found a little bit odd, but the boy does not want to watch a horror movie with his dad, so the boy sets out to wander around the hotel when suddenly he sees an old man cleaning the pool while it's completely dark outside. The cryptic old geezer gives him a watch that he's found in the pool and tells him that the boy needs to come back in 30 years to tell him the meaning of life. This kicks off an odyssey where the boy gets stuck in a time loop, living the same 30 years over and over again, trying to find an answer to this existential question. The child actor really surprised me in this, since he has to pull off this really strange character that's lived multiple lifetimes and carries the trauma and horrors that come along with that. And I also loved the location they filmed in. I mentioned it's odd, but it's also just this very cozy and realistic looking place. And I'm not sure where they found this place, but it was perfect and it brought about all the emotions that needed to come with this story. And beyond that last segment, there is a spot at the very end where we wrap up everything to do with the book and the bookkeeper, the antique store owner, and the movie ends and the credits roll. After the movie, I was able to ask a couple of questions of the director since he was in attendance. And the most pressing one I had was, when is this going to be on streaming? And I'm sad to report that he hasn't signed a deal yet, but he thinks it'll be around the third quarter 2026 somewhere when it comes out. But rest assured, as soon as it comes out, I will be posting something to my YouTube channel to try to get as many people as possible to watch this, because this was an absolutely great movie. I have one more movie to do in this series on Nightmare in the Ozarks, and if you want to stick around for that, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Until then, sayonara, bitches.